For most monarchs, one or maybe even two private jets would be enough, but not for the King of Thailand. The king has 4 Boeing 737s in his collection, each worth around $90 million. Each jet is estimated to have a $3 million annual cost of operation, including the cost of maintenance and fuel. But the king has a particular fondness for aircrafts. He knows how to fly, and often pilots his jet himself when he's traveling overseas, or just for a quick joyride around Thailand. After one of his planes was seized in Munich, Germany in 2011 by officials trying to collect a 20-year-old debt owed by the government of Thailand to a German construction firm, the king spent even more money on his planes. He paid about 12 million euros, or US 14.5 million, to have it released to him. And Thailand and Germany called it even. The Thai king has a few luxury vehicles in his impressive car collection, like a $700,000 Maybach 62, a $190,000 Mercedes S-Class, a $100,000 Mercedes V-Class, and a $47,000 Cadillac DTS. But his absolute favorite cars happen to be his 3 vintage Rolls-Royces. He's often seen being chauffeured around Thailand in his Rolls-Royce Silver Spur Stretch limousine, estimated to be worth as much as $2.2 million. He also has a rare 1960 Rolls-Royce Phantom 5, worth about $1.1 million. And he's also rumored to own a $1 million 1964 Rolls-Royce Silver Cloud 3. With all the cars in this world within his price range, it seems like the king has a preference for old-fashioned luxury. While quarantine was keeping a lot of rulers stuck in their palaces, the Thai king decided it was time to escape Thailand for a little vacation. He is reportedly staying at the 4-star Grand Hotel Sonnenwinkel in the Bavarian Alps with his entourage of 20 women. While most hotels in Germany are currently closed, this hotel received special permission to remain open, just for the king and his guests. The hotel, which has been open since 1890, is known for its skiing, alpine scenery, and hiking trails. But the king has been spending most of his time inside, in the King Ludwig II Suites, named after a former king of Bavaria. The entire 4th floor of the hotel is reserved just for the king and his guests. And it's estimated the king could be paying as much as $1 million a month to stay there. In addition to a terrace with views of Germany's highest peaks, the hotel's amenities include a pool, fitness studio, spa, and bar. Now, the Thai king's best friend happens to be a small toy poodle named Fufu, who used to be dressed up in formal wear and taken to important state dinners, where he would apparently drink out of the guests' glasses. The king even declared the dog an Air Marshal Chief, and probably spent a small fortune on all his little outfits. Sadly, the pet poodle passed away in 2015, but the king spared no expenses for his funeral. Fufu was cremated after 4 days of traditional Buddhist funeral rites, and given a lavish goodbye that's rumored to have cost as much as $2 million. Since the king has made the government's money his money by declaring that the royal assets are under his discretion, then his $31 million coronation technically came out of his own pocket. When the king was crowned, 1,300 people and a few elephants paraded near Thailand's Grand Palace for 6.5 hours of lavish festivities and celebration. During the ceremony, the Thai king was presented with many sacred objects, like the royal 9-tiered umbrella, made of white silk trimmed with gold. He was also presented the Sword of Victory, made of gold and inlaid with diamonds. And of course, his new kingly possessions also included the 7.3 kilogram, that's 16 pounds, gold crown of victory. After becoming king, he also inherited the Golden Jubilee diamond, made of 545.67K gold, and estimated to be worth $12 million. That's the largest faceted diamond in the world. King Vajiralongkorn might have had only one royal wedding after he ascended to the throne, but it definitely wasn't his first royal marriage. The king has had 4 lavish weddings. His first marriage was in 1977. The marriage lasted for 16 years before the couple were divorced, and the then prince decided to marry a Thai actress, though their marriage only lasted for 2 years. Vajiralongkorn married his 3rd wife in 2001. But in 2014, she was stripped of her royal title because it was thought that she and her relatives had abused their connections to the crown. But it was a costly divorce. She was apparently given $6 million and then sent into exile. The king's fourth and current marriage took place in May 2019, just days before he was crowned. Queen Suthida served as a special unit of the king's guard before they were married, and her dress for the ceremony was made of Thai silk and estimated to have cost $3,000. The king reportedly concluded the ceremony with a lavish party to celebrate her reign. Get this, the king gets sick of the Grand Palace, so he needs a royal home away from home. He's reported to own a secret lakeside villa in Munich, Germany that he bought for 12 million euros or US 14.5 million. The luxurious property is known as Villa Stolberg. It's impossible to see inside the residence because the king keeps tight security and the villa has been so well hidden. High hedges and mature trees keep the property away from prying eyes, but apparently the home has direct access to the lake with a private dock, a living area of 1,400 square meters, and at least 15 rooms. In one 1994 advertisement before the home was sold, the place was said to have plenty of fireplaces and a library for ambience. No one's really sure why the king loves spending so much time inside Germany, but it's definitely one of his favorite places outside of Thailand. The king's fortune may be vast, but since he was crowned, he has been getting the monarchy involved in the stock market. In 2018, the Crown Property Bureau announced that assets previously held by Crown Property would be transferred to the king. The organization had previously controlled the royal fortune on behalf of the monarchy, but now that money is under the king's control. With the previously held assets and new ones that the king has purchased, it's estimated that he now has 23% stake in Siam Commercial Bank. He also has 33.3% stake in Siam Cement Group, the country's largest industrial conglomerate. His stocks add up to $9 billion in total, signaling that the king is trying to grow his fortune and assets outside of his traditional royal duties. Now, we're sure crop tops and fake tattoos didn't cost that much of the king's money, but we can't talk about the strange things the king buys without mentioning his, unique fashion choices? Yeah, unique, that's the right word. King Vajiralongkorn has been spotted in malls and getting off aircrafts in Germany while dressed in very tight crop tops, and sometimes sporting fake tattoos on his arms and his back. While at a mall in Germany, he was seen eating ice cream while shopping, and he also reportedly spent at least $500,000 while there, buying gifts for his many girlfriends. It's estimated that the king spends as much as $1 million a month on gifts for his female entourage. Hey, it's good to be with the king. Let's talk elephants. Thai law states that all white elephants are property of the king because they are regarded as a symbol of kingship and treated as deities in Thai culture. Not long after King Vajiralongkorn was crowned, he received his very first white elephant. An elephant known as Plai Ekachai was the first to be found and gifted to the king. He's housed at a conservation center with a huge portrait of the king taking up one wall, so the elephant never forgets him. While the king didn't have to spend a dime to procure this elephant, at least $1 million will come out of the government's funds to house, feed, and care for the animal. He's to be given a new title and treated like royalty. The king's father received 10 white elephants during his 70-year reign, and King Vajiralongkorn will likely receive more as well. The government will care for any white elephants found without sparing expense for the rest of their very long lives. Alright, time to wrap things up. King Vajiralongkorn is the richest king in the world, but do you know just how far ahead he is of the other monarchs? His $43 billion net worth puts him right above the Sultan of Brunei, who has a net worth of $28 billion. Yeah, that's a pretty huge gap.